morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information come from the Smart Device application, Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Aoxander, and today is, what is today? Wednesday, Woden's Day, November 2nd, 2022. And sorry for not doing a show yesterday. I partied a little too hard on Halloween, drank a little too much, and decided to take the whole day off. We didn't get a trick-or-treater one, so I have an entire bucket of candy that I have to power through. So wish me luck. None of this is chocolate, unfortunately. Anyway, let's get on up into the show, shall we? Starting in the year 676, Donus began his reign as Catholic Pope, replacing Pope Adeodatus II. Alright. Then we got a historic event here in 1783. General George Washington, later the first U.S. president, bid farewell to his army after the American Revolutionary War. Yep. In 1824, popular presidential vote first recorded, Andrew Jackson defeated John Quincy Adams. You know, like, that always makes you wonder, like, with all these founding fathers and everything, you know, after the first one, of course, you know, Washington, who's number second in line for president? Like, you know, like, that's why this is the first popular presidential vote here. This is actually for the second presidency, I believe. No. Huh, never mind. I may be full of shit. I don't know. First, well, I don't know. I'm still waking up. I woke up like a half hour or so ago, so my brain's still kind of mushy. Let's move on up. 1852, Franklin Pierce was elected as President of the U.S. Oh, the 14th one. Okay. And then 1859, U.S. abolitionist John Brown, found guilty of murder, inciting slaves to revolt, and treason against the Virginia Territory during his raid on Harper's Ferry Armory, and sentenced to hang. This guy, John Brown, the potential start of the actual Civil War. It was his actions that, you know, might have caused the boiling point to happen and the Fort Sumter to occur and all that stuff. Anyway, 1880, James A. Garfield, a Republican, was elected as the 20th U.S. President. Okay. 1898, cheerleading began in the United States as Johnny Campbell led the crowd cheering on the football team at the University of Minnesota. So cheerleading initially was a man's thing. Well, look at that. So there you go, all you crazy psychotic feminists out there. For all of you who are saying, like, you know, oh, blah, blah, men take things from women, blah, blah, blah. Well, explain this. How come cheerleading is all 100% women now? And, you know, it was invented, you know, it was a men's thing. So there you go. There's something you took from us. Stop crying. 1907, U.S. banker J.P. Morgan locked over 40 bankers in his library to force them to find ways to avert New York banking crisis. Yep, he pulled the Cartman. Actually, no, it's not a Cartman. That's a Timmy and Jimmy when they locked the Crips and Bloods in the convention center to force them to come to a resolution. Well, I guess nowadays that'll just end up with 40 bodies. So. Moving on up into 1917, Balfour Declaration proclaimed support for a Jewish state in Palestine. There you go. Not a Jewish state in Israel, a Jewish state in Palestine. Israel took over. 1920, Warren G. Harding was elected President of the United States, defeating Democrat candidate James M. Cox. Alright. And yeah, if memory serves correctly, initially, presidential votes in the U.S. and such was in the early months of January. And it wasn't until, I don't know, first 20 years or so, like they moved it into the first several days of November, or like the elections and all that stuff. So, anyway, moving on up, 1 year later, 1921, Eugene O'Neill's play Anna Christie premiered in New York City. Okay. Another historic event in 1923, Gustav Stresemann's SPD ministers in Germany stepped down. He looks like a mean guy. Look at him. Angry ball man. 1928, Dmitri Shostakovich's First Symphony premiered in the U.S. with Leopold Stokowski leading the Philadelphia Orchestra at the Academy of Music in Philadelphia. Yeah, I've been reading a lot about this guy recently on this source. This guy keeps popping up. 2 years later, 1930, coronation of Ras Tafari Makonnen as Haile Selassie I, the 225th emperor of Ethiopian Solomonic dynasty. Well, look at that. That's a pretty good dynasty right there. 1934, MLB All-Star team led by Connie Mack and including Babe Ruth, Jimmy Fox, and Lou Gehrig started 18-game tour against Japanese Big Six University League. Why does Connie Mack look like he's a zombie? Like, he looks undead. Like, I can't see his pupils. Actually, no, it looks like he's like looking out from underneath his lower eyelid, right there. That increases. Yeah, he has eyeballs. Okay, didn't look like it earlier. Yeah. 1938 as well. Boston Red Sox first baseman Jimmy Fox was voted most valuable player for an American League for the third time. I think I've heard of Jimmy Fox every now and then. Not entirely sure. Like, as you know, or may not, I'm not really that big of a sports guy. So when I know a name, it's not because they did an amazing thing for me. It's because they were so good that they broke out of, their like area of expertise, as far as public knowledge goes, and gets to me, because I don't give a flying F about sports. Moving on up into 1947, Howard Hughes flew the Spruce Goose, a huge wooden airplane, for the first and last time. Spruce Goose, a really interesting history behind that thing. Made from wood because of the war demand for steel and aluminum, all that stuff, and it was going to be a transport plane to transport things across the English Channel because of all the unrestricted submarine warfare, sinking all those, like transport ships and all that stuff. So just fly it over there, U-boat can't really shoot at us from the ocean if we're in the air, unless they use a deck gun, but by the time they surface and all that stuff, it's already gone. But still, I've been to the Spruce Goose when it was out here in Cali. Now it's up in, I believe, Seattle or something. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, that same time in 1947, the Ryder Cup Portland Golf Club, U.S. won first post-World War II events 11-1 with Ben Hogan, U.S. captain, Henry Cotton, GP skipper. All right. Then 1 year later, 1948, U.S. President Harry Truman was re-elected in an upset victory over Republican candidate Thomas E. Dewey. Yeah, good old Truman. Then 1954, BBC radio comedy Hancock's Half Hour debuted, starring Tony Hancock and Sick James, written by Ray Galton and Alan Simpson. And I'm going to say the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, really needs to change their name, unfortunately, because there's another thing with that same acronym. Acronym, I think. I don't know. Then 1954, Strom Thurmond was the first senator elected by write-in vote, South Carolina. So I guess that's like, absentee ballot, maybe, like, you write it in. No. He was not on the thing. So people wrote his name in. So wow. So he wasn't even an option, and they wrote him in. So that's really cool. That's really cool. And here we go. The guy looks like Bernie Sanders. That looks like a bird version of Bernie Sanders. 1955, David Ben-Gurion formed Israeli government. Oh, that explains everything about his physical relation to Bernie Sanders. Once again, I'm asking for your financial support, despite me having millions of dollars, several properties. Yeah. Kind of fitting, Anyway, sports history, 1960, New York Yankees outfielder Roger Maris defeated teammate Mickey Mantle for U.S. League MVP award, 225-222, second closest vote ever. Second closest vote. What was the first? Let's see here. MVP award, closest votes ever. 202-201. Whoa. 1 point. Voting matters. Voting matters. And if you don't believe me, then look no closer than Futurama, or look no further than Futurama when they were talking about voting, and the robot voter got one vote and won. So. Moving on up into 1960 as well, Penguin Books was cleared of obscenity for publishing D.H. Lawrence's Lady Chatterley's Lover. All right. In 1963, we have a coup d'etat. Ngo Dien Diem, the president of South Vietnam, was overthrown and assassinated in a coup by the South Vietnamese army. 1964, Faisal succeeded Saud as king of Saudi Arabia. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. His name is in the country. Saud. Come on. Better call Saud. I don't know. Got some more sports history. 1969, 41-year-old Detroit right wing Gordie Howe picked up his 19th and final NHL hat trick as the Red Wings defeated Pittsburgh Penguins 4-3. Howe was the oldest player to score an NHL hat trick. Dang. So Gordie Howe, oh yeah, he was 41. That's pretty up there. So, I have no idea about, as I said, I have no clue about sports. Hockey is one of them that I have the most vaguest of ideas. Although I have to say, the one sport I don't know a lick from Shinola is cricket. But, yeah. But yeah, no, 41 years old is old for any sport, really, professionally. So, 1972, Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Steve Carlton was unanimously selected National League Cy Young Award winner, winning 27 games for Phillies, who as a team won only 59 games. So dang, he was almost halfway. That's a pretty good MVP right there. 1973, Barbra Streisand and Other Musical Instruments special premiered on the CBS TV. Alright. Got some more sports history here. 1974, the Atlanta Braves trade then MLB home run king Hank Aaron to the Milwaukee Brewers for outfielder Dave May. 1976, Democrat candidate Jimmy Carter was elected President of the United States, defeating incumbent Republican President Gerald Ford. Walter Mondale was also elected as Vice President. About 11 years before I was born. So that's interesting. Good old Gerald Ford. More sports history. 1978, Wayne Gretzky was sold to the Edmonton Oilers after just 8 games with the Indianapolis Racers of the WHA, scoring 6 points. Scored 104 points in 72 games, both teams combined, and was named WHA Rookie of the Year. World Hockey Administration, I guess? I'm not entirely sure. What is WHA? What is WHA? No, hockey. World Hockey Association, I was right, okay. And we got a music premiere here in 1979. Peter Shaffer's musical Amadeus premiered in London. Ah, is that the Rock Me Amadeus one? Why was I singing Safety Dance? That's weird. Anyway, moving on up to 1983, Thriller! Single released worldwide by Michael Jackson. A little late. 2 days late, Mr. Jackson, but, yeah. Better late than never, I guess. Or you could have sat on it until the next year, Halloween's already over, and you're releasing Thriller. Okay. 1983 as well, U.S. President Ronald Reagan signed bill establishing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Good. But, yeah, all of this idea of, this history month, that history month, those history months, why are we segregating everything? Everybody's history is everybody's history. It doesn't matter, what your skin color is, where you're from. We're all in this world together. Every history is intertwined. Why are we always separating things? It's the combination that makes us strong, not the segregation. That makes us weak. And that's all by design, too. 1986, German tennis star Boris Becker won his third tournament in 3 weeks in different continents, defeating Sergio Casal of Spain 6-4, 6-3, 6-7-6 in the final of the Paris Open after victories in Japan and Australia. Oh wow! This guy was in Asia, Australia, and then Europe. That's interesting. 1986 as well, New York City Marathon. Greet Waits of Norway won her 8th New York City event in 2 hours, 28 minutes, 6 seconds, with Gianelli Poli of Italy, the men's champion, in 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 6 seconds. I've been seeing her picture a lot recently. Really prominent marathonian. 1 year later, 1987, George Harrison released album Cloud 9, and Paul McCartney released greatest hits album All the Best. Alright. 365 days later, 1988, aged shortstop Walt Weiss won American League Rookie of the Year. This was the third straight for Oakland, with Jose Canseco 1986, Mark McGwire 1987. Ah, so those were the other two the previous years. So third straight year. So cool. Go Oakland. That same time, 1988, Mexican radio station erroneously reported Mike Tyson had died in a car crash. Yeah, no, that would not happen. He would just bite the car's rearview mirror off or something, you know? Like, this guy's a nutter. 1989, Black Ladder goes forth. The final episode, Goodbye, aired on BBC TV, starring Rowan Atkinson and Tony Robinson, written by Richard Curtis and Ben Elton. Oh, this guy, isn't he, it's, House, right? I think. Yeah, I swear he was in House. Come on, tell me that he was in House. Well, I'm just gonna say he was in that is House, come on. Hugh Laurie, right? Hugh Laurie. House. Yeah, okay, I figured it in. There we go. Let's see, let's move on up into 1993. Actor Roger Moore, James Bond, and had his enlarged prostate removed. Ugh. I did not need to know that. I don't want to know about people's prostates. That's disgusting. Got some more sports history here. In 1993, the first commemorative bricks were laid at Bob Feller Memorial. All right, cool. Bob Feller Memorial. Let me take a look at this. What does that look like? Bob Feller Memorial. Images. Oh, okay. Let's enlarge this. Let's see here. All right. Well, that's cool. So this is when the first bricks were laid. 1993 as well, Rudy Giuliani won the New York mayoral election, becoming the first Republican mayor since 1965. Isn't he a bad guy today? I don't know. I don't pay attention. I know the name, and I've heard things. I'm not sure exactly what I've heard about him specifically. So much is going on, I just can't focus on anything. Anyway, we got a theatrical finale in 1996, revival of Eugene O'Neill's drama Huey, directed by Al Pacino and starring Pacino and Paul Benedict, closed at the Circle and Square Theater in New York City after 56 performances. Circle in the Square Theater. So it's a circle and then in a square, putting in shapes. Just rhombus it a bit. Then you got Madison Square Garden. In 1997, though, Rodgers and Hammerstein's television musical Cinderella, starring Brandy Norwood, Whitney Houston, and Bernadette Peters, premiered on ABC TV, and I realized that my music might be a little loud, so I'm not sure. So I reduced it a little bit. I need somebody. I don't know what the word is for it. Anyway, moving on up into 2002, Marc Messier played his 1,616th NHL game at 3-2 Rangers loss against the St. Blues to move into second place on the all-time games played list. He passed Larry Murphy and ended his career with 1,756 games, just 11 shy of Gordie Howe. Just 11 more games. You couldn't just muscle your way through that, man, just to get, 11 games. Come on, go for it. It's too late now. Been 20 years. Is he even still alive? Yes, he is at 61, so it'd be rough, but he could probably do it. 1 year later, 2003, U.S. sitcom Arrested Development premiered, created by Michael Hurwitz, starring Jason Bateman, Portia de Rossi, Michael Cera, and an ensemble cast on Fox. And I've never seen it. I've heard of it. Oh, look at Michael Cera. Wow. 2004, George W. Bush was re-elected as President of the United States, defeating Democrat candidate John Kerry. Good old flip-flopper himself. Even his head looks like a shoe. 2006, the 7th Latin Grammy Awards, Shakira, first female artist to win Record of the Year, Album of the Year, and Song of the Year. And those hips don't lie. 2008, British McLaren driver Lewis Hamilton finished 4th in season-ending Brazilian Grand Prix at Autódromo José Carlos Palace to clinch his first FW World Drivers' Championship by 1 point from Felipe Massa. That is really close. 3 years later, 2011, Prodigy's Portuguese striker, prodigious, not prestigious, prodigious, Portuguese, why do I sound like I'm trying to pronounce Pregante? Portuguese striker Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 100th goal for Real Madrid in his 105th game for the club in a 2-0 Champions League win over Olympique Lyon. Alright. 2013, Some more sports history here. Brazilian surfer Gabriel Medina claimed ASP World Junior title by beating Ramsey Bokenam of Morocco in a high-scoring final at Joaquina Beach in Florianopolis, Brazil. Huh. 2015, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, directed by Francis Lawrence, starring Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Liam Hemsworth, premiered in Berlin. Oh, what a fitting area for that to premiere in Berlin, The Hunger Games. Oh my goodness. Especially with what's going on right now. Go watch our Talkness from Monday. Germany, they're getting rid of part of a solar power plant to make room for a coal strip mine. Wonderful. 2015 as well, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull scrapped the Knights and Dames for Australia's honour systems. I guess more of this stupid gender war crap. Get rid of everything, affiliated with male or female and stuff like that. Just a bunch of crap. I wonder what they're going to do with the entire Spanish and French language. It's going to be interesting. 2017, Jerome Powell was nominated by U.S. President Donald Trump to be the next chair of the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve has nothing to do with the government. It is not federal at all. It is a private, family-owned corporation, completely private, by the Rothschilds. Go give that a look. 2017, on this day, and Xiaomi launched a content partnership to display today in history content in Xiaomi's calendar app to users in India. Huh. So is this the guy? Well, that explains why this source is so leftist. If this is the founder here, Chinese. So that explains it. So I'm utilizing a Chinese product for my show. Wonderful. You can't escape him, even if you try. 2018, Blue Note Records released She Remembers Everything, the 14th studio album by singer-songwriter Roseanne Cash, produced by Tucker Martine and Cash's husband, John Levendahl. 2 years later, or 2 years ago, 2020, Johnny Depp lost libel case against UK newspaper The Sun, which called him a wife-beater and said he assaulted his wife Amber Heard, better known as Amber Turd. The most expensive shit ever shat. So, my dog stepped on a bee? I don't know. Anyway, before we move on into Bursts and Deaths, audience, were there any articles that grabbed your attention more than most? Anything you saw in the white areas between the black areas that I read? I can't read everything, but as you can see, this has all happened on this date. This is everything that was recorded, at least being presented on this source, that happened on November 2nd throughout all of time. So I would highly suggest, going to this source, checking it out. It's really interesting. Just the amount of stuff I'm not reading is astounding. I've only read about 1/3, maybe, most likely a quarter, of all the stuff that happened on this day. Actually, maybe even less than that. So, but anyway, start a dialogue in the comment section, down below the underbar. Anything that grabbed your interest more than most, anything that you wish we had elaborated on, anything that you would like to elaborate on. Go ahead and leave that comment. Let's move on into births. Starting us off in the year 1470, we have Edward V was a king of England from April through June in 1483. That was rather short. He was deposed and presumed killed by his successor, King Richard III, who was born. This guy was born in Westminster in England, dying in 1483. Oh, he was only wow. He was only 13 years old. Wow. Huh. And then he was murdered by his successor. Wow, what is going on? Kids killing kids for the throne. That's insane. Anyway, we have Daniel Boone here in 1734, an American frontiersman and explorer, U.S. Hall of Fame, 1915, born in Reading, Pennsylvania, died in 1820. And we have Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake, this bitch. 1755, the Queen of France from 1774 through 92, who allegedly uttered the phrase, "let them eat cake," born in Vienna, Austria, dying in 1793. And good. They should have, guillotined her a lot before. And by the way, by cake, they're not talking about, the actual product cake. Back in those days, from what I've been told, cake was a term that was the stuff left on the pan. So they can eat the residue. That's what she meant. Let them eat shit, essentially, is what she said. Let them eat the stuff we throw away. Yeah, what a bitch. We have James Knox Polk, 1795, the 11th U.S. President, Democrat, 1845 through 49, born in Pineville, North Carolina, dying in 1849. He was a U.S. James K. Polk. That was his middle name, huh? James Knox Polk. I wonder if that's where Fort Knox comes from. And we have Warren G. Harding. Hey, 1865, the 29th President of the United States from 1921 through 23, born in Blooming Grove, Ohio, dying in 1923. Did he die in office? Heart attack or stroke? He died in office, I believe. It looks like. We have Aga Khan III, 1877, Shia Imam, who was one of the founders of the All India Muslim League and later president of the League of Nations, 1937 through 38, born in Karachi, British India, dying in 1957. And I would not want this guy to be the leader of the League of Nations because he was one of the founders of the All India Muslim League, so that's, very segregationist right there. And then now you're having him being the president of the entire world as far as the League of Nations, this guy's a bigot. Victor Trumper, 1877, an Australian cricket batsman for the Test top squad 214. He figure foundation of rugby league in Australia, born in Sydney, New South Wales, dying in 1915, mate. I know that accent is pretty piss poor, but you know what? I don't give a fuck. Moving on up into 1913, we have Burt Lancaster, was a U.S. actor, Apartment from Here to Eternity, and Elmer Gantry, born in New York City, New York, dying in 1994. And then what else do we have here? Ken Roswell is 88 today. Happy birthday. He was born in 1934. Once again, another Aussie tennis player at Grand Slam singles titles, born in Sydney, New South Wales. Let's see, if you want to talk in an Australian accent, first you got to get a British accent, and then you got to drink a couple of Fosters, and then all of a sudden you're Australian, mate. And we have David Stockton, 1941, an American golfer, PGA Championship 1970 through 76, born in San Bernardino, California. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Stockton. We have Larry Flink, 1952, a U.S. chairman and CEO of BlackRock, born in Los Angeles, California. Why does his head look like rhombused? Hold on, I'm gonna have to send that picture to the rhombuser because it looks like somebody rhombused his pig. His entire head. I don't know. It looks like something's wrong and distorted with that. We have Shah Rukh Khan, 1965, an Indian actor, producer, and TV personality. My name is Khan in Swades, born in New Delhi, India. And David Schwimmer. That's didn't he play Ross? I think he looks like it. Yep, there we go, right there. 1966, a U.S. actor, Friends in Madagascar, born in Queens, New York. Wasn't he also the guy in Band of Brothers? Hold on a second. David Schwimmer, Band of Brothers. Yeah, right there. Yep. David Schwimmer's. Where is he? He was. He was Sobel. That's right. 3 episodes. All right. And then who else was born on this date? Nobody of any significance that I can find. So moving on up in the deaths, starting us off in the year 943, we have Queen Emma of France, died on this date, and she was born in 894. And who else died on this date? We have George Bernard Shaw. Hey, this guy. 1950, an English dramatist, Pygmalion, Nobel Prize for Literature in 1925, died at the age of 94. On this date in 1950, he was born in 1856. Wow, he almost lived for a solid century. Just you couldn't do 6 more years. Just squeeze out 6 more years. Just come on, power it through. Get to 100. Let's go. We have Ngo Dien Diem, president and authoritarian leader of South Vietnam from 1954 through 63, assassinated in a coup at the age of 62. Good. But that left South Vietnam leaderless. But that might be for the best. We have Willie Sutton, 1980, a U.S. bank robber, dying at the age of 79. Nothing more notable. Criminal. Well, not really a criminal. If he was robbing banks, he was robbing the people who were robbing us. So he's a hero. He was born in 1901. And Tony Stone, 1921 through 1996, a U.S. baseball second baseman, the first woman to play in men's N-word league, died at the age of 75. And not the bad N-word, but, not even either of the N-words, just the Spanish word for it. But because of this, I'm not allowed to say anything because people are just hateful and segregationists these days. Then we have Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, 1918 through 2004, the first president of the UAE, United Arab Emirates, died at the age of 85. All right. And that appears to be it. That'll conclude the show. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. I live stream this on my personal YouTube channel on Aoxander, which I still gotta. I just gotta bite the bullet one day and just switch over to Twitch one of these days. But we also upload onto the Omni Coalition's own YouTube, as well as a BitChute and Rumble. Anyway, for your dose of Pass Events Daily, we stream every day at 10 in the morning Pacific Time. For all of you and all of us, I am Aoxander, and you are you. And if you're interested in news, we're going to be doing a news show here in a few hours at 2 p.m. Pacific Time. But if you're just in it for the history, until you see us tomorrow or whenever, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Until then, toodles!